Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Hello and welcome. Just gonna get myself adjusted here. Getting myself settled in for today. So thank you for joining me. If this is your first time, let me introduce myself. My name is Julianne Duffy, and you've come across me here on my YouTube channel, breathewithinyoga.com. Every Sunday, I come here live and pull the combined charts for the coming week. So we're looking at your Western as well as your Vedic. We're looking at numerology, and we're kind of looking at all of that and what is the most prevalent energy as we come into the week, and then with it each day of the week. And then after we look at the week, I pull a wisdom card on what wisdom our guides have for us to assist us each of those days. Perfect. And if you stick around I am right now in Pacific Standard Time. I can say that. So at 10:18 Pacific Standard Time, which is 'cause it's only 8, so it'll be 9:18. Good thing I know what time it is. Woo! You can see the complex formulas going up above my head. It's going to be one of those days. I have not had coffee yet and did not get to bed till late, so that's where I am, and that's how it's starting today. But let's jump into it. So anyways, at the next hour, 18 minutes after the next hour that we watch here, so in about an hour and I guess 5 minutes from now, I have a big announcement, so I hope you're here to hear it, and if you're interested of taking advantage of it. But let's get started on that nice little rambling for the first 2 minutes here. Again, thank you for joining me. Let's go into this week. So this coming week, we're going to start with today, looking at the overall energy from today, November 23rd to the 30th. And so next Sunday when we meet again live to look at the week after. So we're going to look at the overall week. So this week, we are moving from recalibration into forward building momentum. So what we have is the moon is traveling from Sagittarius and Capricorn to Aquarius and Pisces. So what we're really going to see is a shifting mood from expansion to structure. Then we're looking more at innovation, and finally like emotional integration. So it's really a lot of work again this week as we go through those. It's very much consistently that we're kind of like hitting arcs, like we're learning something and then we're integrating it by the end of the week, right? So that's very much the themes we've seen. We've still got this week that Mercury is retrograde in Scorpio, and it's continuing to reveal truths beneath the surface, but the energies lighten and turn more constructive by the end of the week. So we're still getting more truths, but it's going to get a little bit lighter, a little bit easier by the end of the week. So Thursday, we've got Saturn stabilizes the emotional field. And by the weekend, Pisces softens the edges and restores intuition. So really what we're going to see overall for this week, the overall tone is clarity, structure, innovation, release. So aligning deeper truth with where we're going in the future direction. So a lot of what came up for the November overall was planting the seeds of what we want to create. So again, we're still doing those cycles as we're going through it. Clarity, structure, innovation, and release. So aligning truth with future direction. So truth to direction. Really, that's what we're seeing. We're going to be guided through the things that we're learning. That's going to help us be more in alignment to the direction that we're heading. Okay, we will pull a card for the week when we get to the end of the week, and we'll just kind of review the entire week at that point. Let's start with today. So we'll go over all of kind of the numerology stuff first. So today, Sunday, the November 23rd, our universal energy is day 4, which really brings in stability, foundation, discipline, and order. We also have the emotional tone of expression, creativity, and communication. We have the elemental overlays. We have fire, which is bringing in vision today, and earth, which is bringing in structure. So the strongest energy we have is turning inspiration into a tangible plan. So that is very much what we're seeing with the overall energy of the week. But today specifically, we're really turning whatever we're being inspired to do into a tangible plan. And so that's where we're going. Now we're going to jump into the moons. So the moon is in Sagittarius today for the 23rd. And in the Vedic, it's in the Puvar Ashadaha. I'm working on it. I'm working on doing it as the best I can. Nakshatra. So what we've really got, and we're going to see today for the 23rd, is the Sagittarius moon is bringing in hopeful and spacious energy as we start the week, and then starts opening mental horizons and encourages planning. So again, that planning that was mentioned, big picture thinking, where do we want to go with this, and renewed motivation. So we'll kind of feel that fire being lit behind us. And then the nakshatra, so the Puvar Ashadaha nakshatra, adds a truth-seeking tone and a lot of fact-finding energy with it to see what's worth pursuing and what no longer aligns with us. So that is really kind of what we're going to see on the Western and the Vedic astrology. We look back at the universal day number 4, that is really grounding this fire, creating a practical let's get organized undercurrent. So we'll feel like things are more workable and not just inspirational. So we'll be able to not only be inspired, we'll actually be able to make steps or take steps towards where we're going. We still have Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, so it's still active. Some details are unclear and unfinished, but we do also have information that is going to continue slowly with this Mercury retrograde. But overall, we are getting a lighter tone to the emotions, and we're going more forward than the week before. So we are getting, the energy is getting lighter and we're taking steps forward. Hello from Indonesia. I'm not even sure how to say that name, but thank you for joining me. Hello, Jackie Mitchell. Salt Lake City. Awesome. Let me know where you are watching from, and please do let me know. And thank you for joining me. Okay, so what we can imagine, what we're really seeing actually, one of the big things is from Sunday, so today, until the 25th, so that'll be Tuesday, we have this major truth window energy. So expect clarity even if uncomfortable. So we're going to get clarity in a lot of things, even things that we may not be really wanting some clarity in, right? We might imagine what we're going to be seeing today on the collective. People are going to be looking more for transparency. So that's that energy that's going to continue coming up, is more that transparency. It's also big picture discussion energy. So like looking at where are we actually going? What's the big thing being created? Strong opinions will surface, so that might bring some tension, and focus on travel, planning, education. That's all what we're really seeing on the collective. Now, on the personal side for yourself today for Sunday is you might imagine the desire to map out your plans. We were talking about that big picture energy, clearer spiritual or intuitive insights, realization of deeper truths, and increased optimism or restlessness. So we might be feeling a little bit happier, but a little bit like, what do we do with all this energy? So more positive, but having that as well, like, what do I do with all this energy? And then I would say that would really go well with that it's fact finding, and we're really going through again that idea and that energy of bringing things forward and then planting those seeds as we go forward. So that would be really what you want to put that energy into if you do find that you're feeling that restless energy. What do you do with it? Put those seeds. What do you want to create, right? Now we might imagine how we can make it through today is dream big, but organize wisely. So it is like, put out those big thoughts. They kind of seem workable. Put that energy, especially if it's restlessness, into that idea, but it's not like don't jump into those type of things yet, right? So it says also avoid impulsive commitment. So it's like look at that, but avoid committing and jumping into anything today. And clarify your direction. Like, where do you want to go? Where is the direction that is there, right? So let's go to the wisdom card for today, Sunday the 23rd. So what wisdom do our guides have? Oh, this one jumped at me, so I'm going to pull that to support. Our wisdom is support. That is what we got. So this talks about every plant has roots through which it receives nourishment and which to anchor into the earth. So humans too need a network of colleagues, friends, and family to nourish and support them. Wisdom reminds you that no human is an island, that we are all interconnected. So develop and strengthen your support systems today. So when it is firm, you can withstand all challenges in life. So I think this does overlap a lot. We got last week was that flexibility. So again, when we got the supports, we've got that ability to be flexible, right? So make sure you are rooted with integrity, honesty, and self-worth. And strengthen your interconnectedness today, and you will have the feeling of safety and belonging. So the mantra for today, based on the wisdom, is, or the affirmation, sorry, is I am always safe and supported, which I think is great because we're really seeing that there's the bigger picture is coming in. We're having more realizations of deeper truths, but remembering we are supported through this process. But again, avoid impulsive things, dream big, but organize wisely. You know, don't do anything jumping quickly. Well, if you're here, silly squirrel, at the end, I will take questions and answers, and I will pull a card for you, but you have to be here when I get to that part at the end today. But thank you for joining me. Please let me know where you're watching from. So let's move on. Let's jump into Monday. So Monday, November 24th. So the overall energy. So first we're going to look at the numbers again. Universal numerology is day 5. So change, movement, flexibility, and adaptability. So that's what we're coming into with the numerology. And the emotional tone is structure, calm, and consistency. So being flexible and calm, I think, is really where we want to put that energy. The elemental overlays is fire and earth. So we're looking at practical evolution. The strongest energies is really shifting plans from a grounded clarity. So whatever we're planning, it is grounded. We're seeing it clearly. It's not unstable, right? Like our heads not in the clouds and we're not unbalanced. Canada, well, welcome. That is where my passport is from as well, Canada. Are you on the East Coast, West Coast, in between? It's a huge country. When we get into the astrology, we have the moon in Capricorn, and we have the nakshatra Uttara Ashada nakshatra. So what we look at is the Capricorn moon brings a focus, responsible tone, making this one of the most productive days in the entire week. So that's awesome. So Monday is productive. If you want to get everything done, that's important. I would probably schedule it for Monday if you can, because that's going to be the most productive day. There is a natural pull towards structure, organization, and taking care of practical matters. But the nakshatra adds a steady long-term mindset. So again, it's that kind of that distance, that long-term idea. You're thinking about what will hold up, not just what works today, right? So yeah, we want to get that done today, but it's also what is the long-term plan. And, you know, what is actually, I was actually discussing with some charts and looking at some charts, and it was explained to me very much that it was like, well, the other foundation that was there was rotted. It has to be taken out, right? So we want to build a strong foundation. So it's not just what's going to work, because, you know, temporarily you can put up some rigging to support some supports, right? To temporarily do that. Well, that's not the energy. We want to start thinking about what's going to hold it up and replace whatever's been crumbling. So that's the metaphor of the day there. With the universal energy day 5 numerology, with the idea of movement and flexibility, plans may shift, but in ways that ultimately improve efficiency. So again, Monday is the most efficient day, but things might shift. So keep that in mind, but it's going to be more efficient if it does have to shift. Yeah, you're going to handle them with clarity and patience, and that's what that numerology will help with. And it's update the plan day, not a dramatic overdoing day. It's just constructive and building and looking at the strong supports. Awesome. Ontario. That is wonderful. It's kind of like almost the middle, not quite, but you're kind of there. Please do, if you are new here, please do like, share, and subscribe so you'll be notified when I go live every Sunday looking at the charts. But we can imagine this week, actually, again, we still have that same energy I wanted to note from Sunday, which goes till the Tuesday, which is that truth window. So we saw that truth window energy, and the Monday and Tuesday, Mars midpoints Rahu Ketu. So we have also a peak anger, revenge, and reactivity energy that is underlying as well. So that's just something to remember, because on a whole, like if we're going to start looking at like imagining on the collective, workplaces emphasizing order and deadlines, government businesses announce structural changes, pressure to increase, but productivity, pressures increase, and productivity does rise, right? So we're feeling that more on the collective. But again, there is this background energy. People might overreact, snap. There might be a hidden conflict that comes up. So we might see that more in that collective. So maybe on the workplace idea or governments, there might be that underlying anger, which wouldn't even surprise me based on all the things that are going on, right? In our personal lives, we might see Monday as a desire to get things in order. Again, it's a very productive day, the most productive day of the week. Feeling more mature, focused, or even realistic. So we might feel that and imagine that as our day goes by. And taking leadership in a situation. So just growing up and leading the role for whatever we have to deal with. And also looking at where we want to be long term. So where do we want to go long term? But again, remember, there is this underlying overreactivity that could come up. So keeping that in mind. But the best way to handle Monday is don't resist the need to reorganize. So if there's something that comes up that really wants to be fixed, cleared up, put back into more proper alignment, go with that. It's a productive day. Remember, I've only mentioned that a few times. It's a edit, refine, adjust day, if you want to simplify it, and really ground your intentions in real world action, which would be like if you get organized, clear it up, because there is something about what we do physically, and then how that does actually kind of emotionally and energetically affect us. I've been doing this for a very long time, but I've been making this new combination has been a little more recently in the last like 6-8 months. But I have been down this esoteric hole for a very long time. Very long time, learning about all these different things. Okay, let's jump to Monday's wisdom. What is our wisdom for Monday? Gratitude. I feel like it's pretty appropriate. Being grateful. When we express gratitude, we open our heart to activate universal energies so that whatever you give thanks for increases in your life. Wisdom suggests seeking the positive in every person, situation, and cultivate an attitude of gratitude. With such attention, even the smallest seed of benefit or goodness will start to grow, and this will reflect positively in your life. So it's the idea of counting your blessings, right? And we really can't go wrong when you do that, right? It'll feel more benevolent and generous, which will attract further abundance towards you. So I cultivate an attitude of gratitude. So being grateful for those things. There's a lot of things where we probably get, all of us, a lot of divine gratitude, help, and assistance, and we may not even notice. Like, as a side story of how my morning went, is I just want to talk about being grateful, especially to the divine. So we travel and we've got our fifth wheel, and I'm asleep and I'm hearing my dogs like starting to kind of bark, and I'm like, okay, no, it's becoming morning, right? Not thinking anything of it. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and I move and I realize our door is wide open. And I realized my one dog, who's this Great Pyrenees, is outside the trailer and he's barking. The other two are still in the trailer magically, and he's he's getting better and better, and he's older, but they are Great Pyrenees and we travel with him. So I don't necessarily trust that he's not going to just dart and start chasing somebody. And we are also parked in the outskirts of the Los Angeles area, or not Las Vegas. We were in Los Angeles, but we're in Las Vegas right now, outside of Las Vegas. And so I get up and I jump up, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I go to the door and I'm like, my dog, I'm like, Biddy, get back in. And he's just like, there's the steps. So I could hear him a little farther, but as soon as he heard me call him, he came back, he looked at me, came in, and then we locked the door again because it was locked, but somehow it opened. Being locked, who knows? But I'm going to say that I do have to be grateful to the divine for making sure the timing of when I woke up, the timing, and that my dog is trained enough that he didn't run into the road. And so there's a lot of that. So that's like gratitude, right? There's a kind of an off tangent story, but a little bit about just being appreciative to the gratitude, right? Exactly, being grateful for the roof over your head. Well, my zodiac sign is, I am actually a Cancer. That is my rising in Western. But then you get into all the combinations, and I'm a different combination of all of those. Let's continue. Let's go into Tuesday. So that's November 25th. So again, reminder that is the last day of that overwhelming energy, which really activates today, the Sunday, the 23rd, of that truth window. Clarity, even if it's uncomfortable. So when the Tuesday is kind of the ending of that energy. And numerologically, we have universal day 6, harmony, balance, health, relationships. Emotional tone of 5, which is movement and curiosity and progress. We have earth and air, which is bringing in a grounded and practical clarity. So the strongest energies we have, it's problem solving in relationships or partnerships. So Tuesday's a really good day because that's the energy is going to be to solving problems that we might have in those energies or in those specific categories of life, relationships, partnerships. Hello, Nelly, 4242. Is that an 8? Yes, 4248. Hi, where are you watching from? Thank you for joining us. Okay. The Western and the Vedic. The moon is in Capricorn for Tuesday, and we're in the Sharvunaha Nakshatra, Vedic, working on it. And so the Capricorn moon continues today, but the energy softens thanks to the universal day 6. So we're getting a little more harmony, balance, and healthy relationships from that numerological perspective. Our emotional tone of the movement, curiosity, and progress becomes more cooperative and relationship focused. So it's easier to find common ground or resolve lingering tensions. And with the nakshatra, the Vedic nakshatra is encouraging us to listen, observe, and understand from a deeper meaning behind situations. So not taking things necessarily at the surface level, just more that in-depth understanding or looking at that, which did come up this past week when we were looking at the charts as well, was that not everything is as it seems. So interesting, because that's on Tuesday the 25th here. We also have Pluto with the moon, which can bring in some heaviness. So we might feel like there's manipulativeness or darkness, and we're kind of at a boiling or turning point. So it's a major collective day. So the collective energy is going to be a little bit interesting because we might be still, because of that same energy we were feeling on Monday, which was, just going to make sure I want to reference it properly, was that Mars midpoint Rahu K2, so peak energy, revenge, reactivity energies in the background. So that again might come up a little bit because we have the Pluto moon is at heaviness, that manipulation, a major turning point for the collective. So that's an interesting thing, because when we look at the collective, what we can imagine seeing is conversations around fairness, world leaders negotiating, and relationship issues resurface for resolution. So maybe we're finally at a boiling turning point. We have to come to some conclusion, right? And we actually probably already made that decision this past week, because Friday was really that fork in the road energy, right? So it was really that you had to kind of make a decision. Even if you didn't make a decision, you were making a decision, right? And then we can also see on the collective is focus on our health, responsibility, and obligations. So that's going to be interesting on when we see that energy. And we can imagine on our personal level that we might see wanting more peace for sure, needing to apologize or repair, fixing those things, same kind of thing as a collective, right? Reviewing our relationship patterns and seeking order in our emotional life. So if we're like done and we've had a lot of chaotic relationships or just people like that, that's going to come to maybe that, again, that maybe turning point with where we're really going to be deciding to change directions. So even though we made that decision and it came up on Friday, these are the energies lingering, and then like Tuesday it really manifests out more so. But the overall, the mood is steady on Tuesday, more relational. I can speak well. Blending responsibility and emotional balance. But again, not everybody's emotionally balanced. I brought that up last week, or if your feelings are so hurt that you're like, I just break like glass because you told me words and they hurt me, right? We're not all emotionally mature. So the overall way to handle Tuesday: balance work and emotions, be aware of them, right? Have honest conversations, but however, avoid pushing anything, because you don't want to push that too heaviness or, get to a boiling point. If you're pushing anything, you want to avoid that. And Tuesday is a day for repair and harmony. So really just keeping as much as you can neutral and being the observer, right? Okay, let's pull our wisdom for Tuesday, the 25th here. And our wisdom from our guides is support. We're getting support again. I find this interesting. We're supported. We are just, okay, maybe that's just really the underlying for this week, that we are supported. So very much like I mentioned earlier about that flexibility we pulled up last week, which is, like trees that have a lot more flexibility will handle those hurricanes or tropical storms or whatever better than those that are just really rigid. They break, right? So we're, again, remembering that when we are flexible and our roots are nourished, that we know we're supported, we're going to be more flexible to anchor to the earth, right? So we are being nourished, we're being supported. Again, make sure you're rooted in integrity, honesty, and self-worth. Strengthen your interconnectedness to feel safety and belong, right? It's honest conversation, all of that. So I'm always safe and supported. Again, that comes up as the wisdom for Tuesday. So maybe if we do come across some of this heaviness, boiling points or whatever, to remember we are supported, right? And that we are already for those that are watching and coming across this, you were already forewarned about this energy. So you've got that support as well, right? So keep that in mind. It'll be interesting on how it manifests out in your life. Exactly. I think there's a lot of us that can use support. We're always being supported, right? So it's remembering, very much like the one before, the gratitude as well, right? So being grateful that I woke up at the right time, got my dog rounded up, he didn't wander and start, hurting things outside of the city, we are supportive. It's remembering we're supportive and then starting to see. And the more we see it, the more we get ourselves in a line of allowing that energy to flow easier, right? So when we see it and we're appreciative, it's at the attraction, that I like attracting a like idea. Exactly. Okay. Wednesday. So Wednesday is the 26th of November. We come into numerological universal day 7, spiritual insight, introspection and intuition. The emotional numerological is 6. So harmony, beauty, and gentle recalibration. We have earth and water as the elements that are highly aligned on Wednesday, which is bringing in emotional grounding. So the strongest energy is quiet clarity emerging. So just that clarity, that's that probably more of those aha moments. So we've got our moon is in Aquarius, and we've got the Dhanishra Nakshatra. The moon shifts from Aquarius, bringing more objective and innovative tone. I can say words. Side note, I can definitely appreciate how difficult English is to learn for people that don't speak English naturally, and that's the only language I know. So I appreciate that. Okay. So we've got an objective, innovative tone is what's the overall with Aquarius. So space from recent emotional intensities allows us to see a situation with a clearer perspective. So more of that new aha. And then the nakshatra supports breakthroughs, problem solvings, and practical insights. With our universal day 7, we're getting that reflective, intuitive layer. So it's a strong day to step back, analyze patterns. It's like looking for the trends, looking for the, like, what we can see, gaining clarity on what we're seeing, but not with pressure. Not that somebody's like, oh, all I can think of right there, the first thing that came to my mind is the movie They Live. If you've done it, I would highly recommend to go and find it and watch it. If you don't, go buy it. It is worth it. You will keep it. It is a wonderful movie. But there is a part, because this just made me think of seeing with a clearer perspective. There's a part where there's this awkward, like 10-minute fight where there's the sunglasses that when the friend sees with the sunglasses, like things break down and you're seeing more of that true clear perspective. But it's funny because he's trying to get his friend to try these sunglasses on, but he doesn't want to, and it goes into this awkward I feel like it's like 10 minutes this fight, and eventually gets the glasses on him. And so, let's avoid that. So with emotional intensity, it's giving us that clearer ability to see the situation with a clear perspective. So those glasses are coming on. We've already gone through that 10-minute fight sequence that was awkward, and now we've got the sunglasses on, and now we're seeing, right? So with the nakshatra, it supports breakthroughs. There you go, breakthroughs. You got the sunglasses on, they're seeing clearly, problem solving, and practical insights. And yeah, so then the universal day, reflective, intuitive layer. So that's what it's adding with the universal day 7. Strong day for stepping back, analyzing that with clarity without pressure, which is what I've already said. But now let's continue. Easier to detach from drama. So that's awesome. So if you do get really pulled into other people's drama, especially in your own family, it's going to be easier to start to detach from that and look at things at a more logical, clearer perspective with those new sunglasses on, right? From They Live. So the one thing to note though, Saturn is direct, which is a huge thing because we're going to start to see businesses starting to improve. Forward motion is beginning. Responsibility is returning again. Things are getting more serious. We had a lot of chaos, and there was a lot of like cloudiness, and now we're getting more that direct, the energy and stamina going forward. So overall, the week is a lot of the aha moments, as I mentioned, not dramatic, but quietly revealing, right? So you're not, so again, I'm not having that 10-minute fight sequence to get that sunglasses on so he can see it more clearly, what is going on around him. It's going to be not that dramatic. It's going to be a little bit quieter. So I can imagine on the collective is that tech or societal shifts. So we might be seeing something being announced or that's really becoming more apparent, a shift that we're going through. The new ideas are gaining traction. So maybe something you've heard about is going to start coming up more often. It is a quiet but powerful realizations within groups and communities. So not super peaceful. But it's good for alliances, but bad for superficial harmony. So if there is superficial harmony, right, I feel like that's really every time they say they're going into some peace talks. And it's like, this is superficial harmony because then it doesn't seem like there's very much peace that is happening there. So there you go. So good for alliances and good for things that are authentic, not for superficial, especially if something is not a real harmonious, it's not really in values and integrity, then it's, that's going to not be highly supported. On our personal level, we can imagine sudden intuitive clarity, emotional detachment that helps us healing. So seeing with those sunglasses that just suddenly we see where we need to heal, insights into our future direction, and a desire for solitude or reflection. So we'll want to take some downtime when we come through midweek. Seems appropriate. Have a bubble bath, massage, whatever you need. Light some candles, relax, take that time to reflect and do that deeper perspective, because what is recommended, so really to make it through Wednesday, what you can imagine is letting insights come rather than forcing answers, so aha moments. So if you do go into that reflective solitude state, you're going to definitely kind of more help encourage those aha moments, because that's how they're going to come, I really feel, for Wednesday. Trust your intuition, that's highly aligned. Avoid overthinking, right? So again, more that harmony, not overthinking, and then just like, maybe you're sitting in the tub, or maybe you're sitting or having a massage or something or whatever, reflecting, and then just something comes to you, that epiphany, right? And it's a listen day, don't speak. So, that's the other thing to keep in mind. It's a good day to listen, avoid, maybe saying what your opinion is as well. I do too. I love solitude. Solitude is definitely my thing. And it took me a lot, because I did go out into people, and I was out with peopleness until very late last night. And it was a whole new experience in Vegas. We went to the Neon Lights Festival for the concert experience for my daughter. And that was interesting, because she liked one of the DJs more than the other. And then we went for cheap late night steaks. And it's good when it's got a lineup and it's like 12:30. The good times. Don't find that in Canada anymore, unfortunately. I don't know if we ever did. But let's go with Wednesday's wisdom. Purpose. By choosing this card, you are prompted to examine how your current goals serve you. So check that the reasoning of your mind is in tune with the calling of your heart. So allow your values to act as your compass and guide your direction. Then become clear about whether your thoughts, words, and actions are in alignment with your life's plan, and take positive action to bring about congruency. So act with awareness and wisdom, as the choices you make can hinder as well as assist your fulfillment of your purpose. And I think that's appropriate, because the last thing was listen day, don't speak. So again, that's that act with awareness, I believe, is highly aligned, and from that wise, purposeful, and get that in alignment. So I have clear purpose, and your clear purpose is going to come through those aha insights when we come into Wednesday. So that's quite so appropriate. Well, it was fun. It was good, and the food was good. It was a lot of food, and it was a good deal. It was, you got your steak and eggs and hash browns and toast, and it was like $6.95. And it was a 7-ounce New York sirloin. Yeah, that's why there was everybody showing up for cheap steak in the middle of the night. So I'm not going to complain. I'm very grateful for that. It was enjoyable. Megan, happy day. Well, thank you. Happy day to you, beautiful soul. Okay, let's continue going into Thursday. Solitude on Wednesday, but stay quiet so it can come in. Exactly. That is a perfect summary of how I feel Wednesday really is, allow those things to come in, allow the clear perspective to come in, allow the sunglasses to come on and be aha, but it will come easier if you're having those moments of solitude. I'm doing great. How are you? And I don't know how to say, I'm not even going to ruin your name, but I'm doing great. I hope you're having a wonderful day as well. We're going to continue looking into the week. Let's go to Thursday. So that's November 27th. So the energies to begin with, the numerological. They've got the universal 8 day, universal number 8, power, manifestation, and leadership decisions. We've got an emotional tone of 7, which is reflection, inner truth, and spiritual depth. And the elemental overlays are air and water. So we're getting emotional insight on Thursday. And kind of the overall strongest energy is quiet but powerful decision making. So it's not going to be like you're yelling and getting the bullhorn or whatever and being like, we are going to whatever, sell this product now. It's going to be more of this quiet, powerful decision. Like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just deciding that I'm just not doing this extra whatever job for Thanksgiving that I'm done with. As an example, like, I don't know why that just comes to me, is that some responsibility that no one seems to really care about except for you. And you're like, you know, I'm done being the only one that cares about it. So that might be how that comes up as well, right? That's just what came to my mind. So we've got our moon is in Aquarius, and we've got the Shatabisha Nakshatra. I'm working on it. As you know, I can barely speak English, but I'm working on it. I'm going to get these Vedic names. But we've got Aquarius moon continues, but today's energy deepens with our universal 8 day. So that really combines encouraged focus with action, decision makings, and stepping into personal authority. So, but doing it without pushiness, right? So being of who you are, having that strong energy, but not being like, you must be me, and pushing and forcing it on others. And so the emotional tone remains introspective. So we're still turning inward, still have that same as we did on Wednesday. And that's really because of the same emotional reflection, inner truth tone for day 7. It's a steady, quiet power effect. So with the Nakshatra, it adds a truth-oriented problem-solving quality. So you'll be feeling more capable of addressing something directly, maybe in more of a calm and measured way. And with Saturn's influence, it's going to actually support long-term thinking and realistic planning, which is something that kind of came up earlier in the week. So when we get to Thursday, that's going to be really supported, whatever you were kind of planning for building, or whatever you're wanting to seed forward, right? So overall for Thursday, it's a strong day for strategic choices, handling responsibility, and taking mature forward steps. So it's being an adult, growing up, right? Being and doing what you need to do, right? Growing up. Pulling up the big girl or boy pants, right? And get the boots on and get to work and get it done. Hello, Alexander. Thank you for joining me. Midnight where you are? Well, thank you. Thank you for staying up or getting up early, whichever, whether you're going to bed or staying up. Okay, so what we might imagine collectively is we might be seeing some big announcements on Thursday, leadership shifts, and strong reaction to new information. So again, there might be, if we're doing it well and with our own charts, we're going to see more calmly and looking at it in a more realistic way. But again, there could be very strong reactions to whatever's kind of coming up. And so we might imagine that in our own lives, people are having major decisions. Again, it's like growing up, right? Major decisions, finally committing to whatever, right? That choice, which again, probably already started this past week on Friday when that was the energy. It's also a very good day on Thursday though for meeting people. So if you are doing a networking event or some kind of thing where you're out about, it's a good day to meet people. You're gonna feel, imagine feeling emotionally removed. So you're not emotionally getting triggered. So even with strong reactions to information, we're not getting that that anger or any of that frustration energy, because we're going to be more mentally sharp because we're seeing a little clearer because we had that sunglasses put on our head, right? On our eyes, which are on our head, right? And then for getting through Thursday, it really suggests imagining taking it slowly, making decisions clearly, wisely, and with purpose, right? So not rushing. This week is definitely, there's no rush in this energy for this week. Do not power through emotions, integrate with strategy. So if something does come up, if you are feeling reactive, even though it's not as much emotionally on Thursday, but it's just let those emotions come up, acknowledge, maybe even reflect on them. Take a moment, reflect. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time. You don't sit there for like 20 minutes analyzing or, but go, why did I feel this way? Anger, sadness, happiness, or whatever that might come up. And just take a moment, right, to integrate and be like, you know what? I'm aware this now triggers that. And then let that be part of your strategy or whatever. Let it integrate. And follow inner timing. So again, that divine, where we pulled up already a couple times this week that the support is there. So I feel like that's also kind of reminding us that the inner timing is part of the divine support. And as we were earlier, I think it was Tuesday, no, maybe it was Monday, where it's Monday or Tuesday, where one of those days, timing might be kind of off, but it's going to time out better for you, right? So that's that support from the divine timing, right? So let's pull out what our wisdom is from the divine for Thursday, what they would like us to be reminded or look at for some clarity here. Flexibility. I feel like I've talked about this a lot already today, and this is the first time I pulled it. Flexibility. So again, it's that a rigid tree falls with the first gale, the first force winds, that first storm, while a flexible one proves to be more enduring. So our mindset and our attitudes need to be flexible, right? So that's really when we're considering major decisions, feeling, intuition guiding our logic, right? So being flexible, right? So intuition's there, and our logic may not quite mix, but maybe when we sit on it and we're a little more flexible of observing and being more clear about that situation, it may change the way we actually see things or the value of how we perceive a situation. Whether, okay, on a simple level, in this circumstance, it cost me this and this and this, but on this circumstance, it cost me this and this, but now I see this as more of a positive versus a cost, right? So that would be kind of the way I would think of that. But bringing in for Thursday, the energy, the wisdom is be flexible, right? Follow the inner timing, because that was the other little note. So be flexible as you go through Thursday. Be that tree, allow yourself to, again, if you do notice any emotions that are coming up and get triggered, don't fight them. Allow them to integrate, move on, and be flexible with that. So that is really, I feel, the learning, right? I pull cards at the end. I prefer that people don't actually share their birth dates and personal information on my lives, as we don't need more information out just because you just don't. If you would like a personalized reading, you can go to my website, breathewithinyoga.com, and there you can get your own combined charts reading with your astrology, which is Western Vedic. We look at numerology. We look at your astrography. Oh my gosh. Anyways, it's where you're located, and your human design, which is also numbers. We combine all of that to get a very specific reading for you. Hello, Hunter. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. And if you are just joining, let me know where you are watching from. I am good. I hope you're having a beautiful day as well, Hunter. Hunter Diva 999. Or is it Deva? I don't know, because I always ruin even English words. Okay, but let's continue. We've made it to Friday. So Friday is the 28th of November. And the first, we'll start with the numerology again. So we're universal day number 9, which is completion, release, closure, and endings. We have an emotional day of 8, and the tone is power, intensity, and transformation. The elements are air and water, which brings in emotional clarity. And really what we're going to feel strongest is a release with purpose. So letting go of things, but also having a purpose and a drive behind it. So we've got our moon in Pisces, and we've got the Purva Pudradu Nakshatra. I'm going to go with it. So the Pisces moon brings sensitive, intuitive tone. With our universal day 9, it reinforces the themes of release, closure, and emotional clearing. And then our nakshatra adds depth, intensity, encouraging honest reflection, and letting go. So of what has been energetically heavy. So it's like letting go of those things. We have the emotional tone of 8, which increases internal pressure. So we might feel like we're finally ready to acknowledge something. So again, clearly there's something being brought up that we're fully integrating this week, that we've been building for a while, we've been integrating, but maybe we're just on that thing where once it's apparent, we're like, why did we not notice or even realize we were on the edge of even understanding to make a choice in that. I know that sometimes there's things where I just kind of think about something or it'll be resonating or whatever, and then one day it just becomes so apparently clear, and I'm like, why did it take me till this aha moment to see this? Even though it's just the way maybe a word was phrased or the way the order was phrased, it changed my perspective, right? So this is that acknowledging something that's been building for a while. It might just be that aha moment from a couple days ago is really apparent. Like, we had that aha moment, now it's digested, right? So it's not a chaotic release, it's purposeful and it's cleansing. So it's not something to be scared about. You know, you're not having that 10-minute they live fight to get those glasses on. It's this meant to be released. So you've been coming through these aha moments that have energetically aligned to allow you to now let it go. We do have the Rahu and Moon, which is an emotional spike that can come up on Friday. So there could be over the top reactions. Maybe there is some energy towards an alien theme. So maybe we're going to see a lot of unidentified UFOs, what do they call them? Unidentified flying objects, no. Unidentified flying aerials, they'll be, or just, you know, those type of things, right? And humanitarian impulses. So that's what can kind of come up with the Rahu and Moon. So overall with the day, it carries a strong spiritual energy. It supports completion of our cycles. So really that final letting go with that understanding and clearing the emotional and mental clutter. So preparing space for a new direction, because we need to let go. As I said at the beginning, what the week kind of looked like is that we're getting rid of the base, the foundation. It's rotted, it's poor, we can't build on it. This is what that week really is kind of representing, is that we're getting rid of especially the emotional things or the non-truths, the things that aren't truth, that we can't build upon if we're still believing or living in this old way. We're not gonna be able to build good supports. Like, it's gonna crash, right? So that is how I would see that complete preparing space for a new direction, preparing the foundations for a new direction to come. Well, welcome from Jackson from Jackson, is that right? Welcome. So as I continue, and I got a little distracted by the comments, so I try to manage those. I'm working on it. I'm only human and I am not perfect, and I'll never say I'm perfect, but we will imagine we're perfect, right? No, let's imagine collectively what we're going to see for Friday. Old systems and ideas are dissolving. So the way we were doing things is going to, like, it's going to go. Like, we're realizing they don't fit where we're going. And then I kind of intuitively go, there's a lot of us kind of almost backtracking, right? And I know I had brought this up in maybe it was last week or the week before, about watching a video, which was this fridge from the early, like, 1900s, which is so much better laid out and efficient than what our fridges are now. So it's like, it makes me think of like the old systems, the way our fridges are now, right? Like all these electronics that are really not very useful. Usually the thing that goes first is the computer and costs more than buying the entire new appliance. And, you know, it's almost like we're going back with ideas that were better, bringing them forward, but dissolving the old systems and ideas that aren't benefiting us, if that kind of makes sense. In that rambling, it's really an ending or transition. So what we're going to see in the collective is really endings and transitionings, and emotional intensity in groups. And again, people talk about aliens like that might be where there's some emotional intensity in groups, people having some weird interactions. Maybe that's what they're going to be talking about. Now on our personal level, we can imagine that this, for Friday, that we're letting go of attachments, that those aha moments, that letting go, that energetic heaviness being released. It's a good day as well for business. So if you've got some business to be done, Friday would be the day to get it done before we go into the weekend. It's an emotional release, so you might be letting go of more. Again, just like we did Thursday's recommendation, don't fight it, let it come, integrate it, and let it go. Emotion or powerful intuition or dreams. So Friday, you might get some even more aha moments, deeper aha moments, or very deja vu intuitive dreams giving you some guidance. If there is something you're looking to want some information on, put it out, because the dreams might be crazy. So if you're like, oh, not sure about a situation, that would be a good way to get an answer, would be in your dreams, especially Friday. And of course, we're going to see and imagine ourselves like realizing what no longer fits. You know, like maybe you don't need to make 45 different desserts for Thanksgiving. Maybe that no longer fits. You just need one dessert. No one cares about the rest, right? Or whatever, right? And then on the whole, how to make it through Friday, imagine allowing the endings to go. So just kind of preparing yourself to let those endings end. Imagine that you're not resisting the emotional releases. Just like on Thursday, you know, we're letting them come in. We're acknowledging them, right? Acknowledging them and then letting them just kind of go. Right? If you want to stay stuck in that emotional thing, that's your choice, but it's going to drain you, right? So it's that realization and growing up, the more we emotionally can reflect on our emotions, right? And even observe them, even if it is a little bit after we get drawn into the emotion, the sooner we do that, the more our emotional aptitude and intelligence increases. And that's part of healing, right? Is that we can then choose whether we're going to go into that energy or not, right? So if it's sadness, do we really want to go down that sadness hole? If it's mad and anger, is it worth us putting our anger in there? Maybe sometimes we'll choose to, sometimes maybe we're not. But that's the emotional intelligence of being able to even acknowledge those, right? I'll be spending with my family. Always spending it. Silly squirrel. Always with my family. I'm not a big, we do holidays, but I'm not really big holiday person. So we do things. We hang out. I might make a chicken. I'd pretend like it's turkey. Exactly. I think solitude is probably one of the best things to do, especially for Thanksgiving, right? Because Thursday does come up, because that is a holiday. Now that we're talking about that, because that is, I believe, the Thanksgiving, right? It's Thursday here in the U.S. And it's good for meeting people. So it's going to be good for meeting people, I would say, at family events. And if you are having family events, follow your inner timing. And I would really say don't power through the emotions, because it might be a really triggering family day, depending on your dynamics. One of the most interesting things with it's one of the like philosophies that I've come across is you think you spiritually evolve and then go spend a weekend with your family, right? So there, it just brings up triggers and traumas that we are growing and healing from. That's the only thing we can do. But as we go through Friday, so after we've already had Thanksgiving and Friday, allow endings to happen. Don't resist those emotional releases. Journal, meditate, rest. You might need more of that, like, solitude on Friday, especially if you were with a lot of family, and depending on how you take on it. If you're very, if you take on other people's energies, inadvertently, suit up. Imagine yourself bubbled, protected from everybody's chaos. Find a way. Okay. Friday's guidance. Let's pull the wisdom for Friday. Wealth. You draw from a limitless universal pool according to how much you believe you deserve. Oh, so true, right? I pulled this before. Wisdom suggests you question what form of wealth you truly seek. I think this is always the major point. Is it experience, satisfaction, happiness, love, or money? Opening to wealth consciousness by aligning your thoughts with your desires and expect good things to flow in your life. I am wealthy beyond measure. So I feel like this is, again, like letting go of the attachments is part of also being aware of what are you wealthy about, right? And it is that emotional release and stuff. So it's, again, looking at what truly makes you happy. And I feel like that is really the theme on Friday, right? Release with purpose the things that aren't making you happy, that don't satisfy your life, right? Like, okay, money does help for sure. Never gonna disagree that we do need money in this living layer to exist. But when we can produce and do money that's in alignment with our purpose is much nicer than doing things that because we have to do things, right? So sometimes we have to come to an energetic balance where we understand what we're really wealthy about, get our energies into alignment with that, and then continue with letting that energy expand into the fields that are important. Because then we're going to be open to all wealth. Because once we really understand that it's an energetic form, we create more abundance through that wealth. And 28 is the wealth number. And I pulled that for Friday the 28th. Good catch. That's amazing. I'm just going to say. We're being supported by the divine. They tell us. They're telling us we should have always gratitude. Thank you. I'm very grateful of that coincidence, which is not a coincidence because coincidences don't exist. We manifest in real time. Ontology, not oncology. That is when they're doing things with your rectal, and looking at for things. Ontology is this interesting idea of kind of the idea of coincidences. And when people are thinking about the same thing or talking about it, but you don't know each other, and then you find out people are coincidentally doing similar things or in similar alignments, that is wonderful. And we're going into a lot of that as well. So interesting. Okay, so let's continue. Saturday. Let's go into Saturday. That's the 29th of November. Right into the energies and numerology. Universal Day 1. New beginnings, initiative, courage. Emotional energy of 9. Completion, reflection, and closure. Elemental overlays. We've got water and fire, which brings in emotional ignition. So we're emotionally getting fired up here. Water and fire, right? And the strongest energies is new energy rising after an emotional release. So because we've already gone through all of that earlier, now that new is coming in. This day does say, again, we brought this up, I believe it was for last week as well, don't take anything at face value. So that does come up in the energy for Saturday. But what we have is the moon in Pisces, and then we've got the Uttara, Bhadrapada, Nakshatra. So with those, the Pisces moon with the universal day 1 shifts energy towards a new beginning, fresh motivation, and a clearer direction. Then the Nakshatra adds steadiness and emotional maturity. So helping us act from a grounded place rather than impulsive. So again, we're not to do anything impulsive this week. That has come up a couple of times. Yesterday's release, so Friday's release, makes Saturday feel lighter and a little bit more open. We also have the emotional tone day of 9, which carries reflective undercurrent. So the new energy isn't loud. Again, it's not that blowhorn. That energy is not really supported today. It's quiet, but it's very sure, very powerful. So it's a kind of day where a new idea, plan, or intention starts forming after something has been cleared. So again, we've taken out, we've removed the broken foundation, the moldy, deteriorating structure, and now we can start building new. So that same idea is still coming up, and this is on Saturday. We do have Saturn and Neptune with the moon. So we still have heaviness and confusion. So people, it's not what they appear, and there's some sudden relationship shifts. So keep that in mind. Not everything is as they appear. We're looking on clarity and getting more clarity. So continue with that work, right? Because that's what really came up earlier in the week. Don't take things at face value. Be open to take all the different perspectives to get a more grounded and rounded perspective. So overall, Saturday is a great reset day. Support starting fresh without forcing anything. So we're not forcing anything. We're just starting to do fresh. But again, be aware, things may not be as they seem, especially people. Hello, I don't know, Triple CY, Trico. Well, thank you. You are beautiful as well. Tell you about Scorpio. Well, I can pull a card for your sun signs. We'll be doing that at the end, which we're getting close to. Let's continue. So Saturday, we're going to imagine collectively some of the things we're going to see. Announcements of the new beginnings, that energy is up, right? Creative surges and people taking initiative. So maybe we're going to see some new initiatives of people deciding that they're looking for solutions for things and challenges. That might be what we're really seeing in the news and social media and stuff like that. Now we might imagine in our own personal lives that we're feeling lighter because we've already loaded a lot of emotional things. We're emotionally maturing and getting that emotional intelligence level going up, right? So we've got some new ideas and projects are emerging. So we're kind of running on those. Renewed sense of self. So it's like, ooh, like I know who I am, feeling a little more powerful, a little bit more stable. We have that desire to move forward. Like we're ready. We started to put those seeds out. We're clearing, we're breaking down that old rotting, foundation that was giving out so we can start building and moving forward. So that desire's there overlapping with that. And what we might see and imagining or the solution to really how to make it through Saturday, the prescriptive guidance, how to make it through Saturday. Don't force action. Let beginnings rise organically from clarity. And don't make decisions today. So Saturday is not a decision-making day. So make that a note. Just don't make a decision. Because of that, don't take anything with face value. Because you don't want to get trapped that you're making a decision based on something that seems a little bit face or surface value. So don't make a decision. Hold it off. Do it either Friday, a little bit better energy, or hold it off till let's check into Sunday. Sunday might be it's a deeper healing day, which we're going to get into. So I would for sure hold it off till a better aligned day. And let beginnings rise organically from clarity. So as you get clear, just let those things continue and be a little more clear. Well, that's a really great question. How do you keep yourself happy in life? Because, life isn't easy. We come here in a very dualistic life that can be extremely heavy, especially because there's a lot of things, like we have a lot of control of things, but there's a lot of things that are out of our control, right? And then I think that's what really makes us unhappy, which actually, I think it's actually a perfect question. So this is my announcement that if you've been watching, this is my big announcement, and I hope you're excited because I'm super excited to release this and bring this out for everybody. I have been working on a system. It is called the Awakened Light, and it is an app / website, which is made to help you. So the idea is, you're asking about happiness. How do you become more happy? Well, what's interesting is the more clarity I have in my life, the more clarity I have on my purpose, and the more I understand things and I'm no longer a victim to my life and understanding why things happen and why energies are aligned the way they are, it is a much more empowering life of where you're more likely to take the reins and go forward in something, especially if it's energetically aligned. So what I've been working on is a spiritually intuitive guidance system. So what I've been doing each week is this astrology, numerology. We look at symbols, daily practices. It works with the users to align timing, decisions, and healing. So we're blending intuitive intelligence with grounding tools. So real life like numbers and things that actually match you to help assist you. So this is for people that are awakening, want direction, clarity, and energetic support that will help you become more happy, because when you're in more of an alignment and you know your purpose, life is so much easier to go through. It's much lighter, and it does make you happier. Without the money and career, those things come when you're in alignment. So this app is made to assist you going through it. So what I'm opening today, what has gone live, and you can in the description, it's here, and I will get it out in the comments as well. You can go to my website, breathewithinyoga.com. The first tab is to be an awakened light beta tester. I have the direct link in the description, so if you go there as well. It's a quick little form. If you are interested, in testing out the system, because we want to see how people will interact with this guidance system. We're looking at what features feel the most supportive to assist you in getting clarity and to help us co-create a system that will help awaken humans and not build it in isolation. Because there's a lot of things where I'm combining all the things I wish I had. So what I'm doing with this app is legitimately, I know somebody early on asked me how long I've been doing this. I've been doing this stuff for years. I have gone down so many esoteric rabbit holes, and I'm like, well, I like this. I like sound healing, and I like the astrology, and I like the numerology, and I like this, and I like yoga, and I like this. We need a system that brings all of those together and intuitively uses it for each person individually. So that is what the system is doing. The system works intuitively to assist you, help you with timing, help you have an idea of what your purpose is, and help guide you. It becomes this like daily divine timing assistant slash, it's almost like it's a way to heal. It really is. It's a way to heal. So really, anybody that's feeling stuck, intuitively wanting to go forward and try this out. So you're going to get early access. You just have to go to my website. It's going to give you right off the bat, when you get signed up to this app, you're going to get personalized daily guidance. You're going to get charts and timings that are going to be automatically, and then it gives a feedback loop. So you're going to help really build the spiritual intelligence system. So if you are interested, go to the website, breathewithinyoga.com, and the first tab is the Awaken Light beta tester. You go to that, and then it says it right there. There's a few questions to answer, and then it'll submit, and I will be starting beta tests sending out for beta testers this week. So if you feel something deep inside you calling you, go and check it out. Sign up to be a beta tester and be part of this movement. It's something that is going to be a tool with the intention that will be implemented into most people's spiritual practices, and it's going to be fun. But on that, let's jump back to Saturday and pull the oracle for Saturday. So the wisdom for Saturday is, we got support again. Support, 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 support. You have divine support. I also think this is completely relevant to my announcement of the Awaken Light app beta testers. This is a support. This is the divine support coming through in a new program that I want you to try out. I want as many people to be helped, healed, and served from it. So if you go in the description, the link is there, or check it out at breathewithinyoga.com, and it's the first at the top toolbar, say Awaken Light beta tester. Do it, because you are being supported. It's make sure you're rooted in integrity, honesty, and self-worth. You've got that support. Strengthen your interconnectedness today, and you will have a feeling of safety and belonging, and that is what's going to help make you happy. You're always safe and supported. So if you want a little bit of extra support, go and apply to be my beta tester. I would love it. I'd love to work with you directly and get your feedback. Okay, last day before we meet for next week, Sunday the 30th, or we'll meet again to discuss the charts. But when we come into Sunday, we have the Universal Day 2, Partnerships, Intuition, Harmony, and Cooperation. We have Emotional Tone of 1, Self-Direction, Clarity, New Identity Cycles, and the Elemental Overlays of Water, which is Intuition and Emotional Flow. The strongest energy is emotional clarity coming through intuitive connection. So we have our moon in Pisces, which will be transitioning into Aries on Sunday. And we've got the Ruviti nakshatra in Pisces, which then moves on to the Ashivni nakshatra. There we go. So what we're looking at is the Pisces moon sets a gentle tone for the day, making it ideal for emotional reflection and intuitive insight. It's restoring your energy. And then the Ruviti Vu T Nakshatra supports closure, integration, and tying up loose ends before a new lunar cycle. We have the universal day 2, which encourages that cooperation, emotional sensitivity, so conversations may feel softer or more meaningful. We also have that emotional day 1, which brings that subtle rise of confidence and renewed clarity about what you want, right? So we've got, this is a healing day. So things are going to align, peace returns, spiritual clarity. It's a divine heart, like love. It's a divine love window is really what it is. Deep emotional insight is what's going to happen on Sunday. So moon shifts to Aries in the evening, which the energy picks up slightly, offering small spark of motivation or forward movement after a quiet, introspective day. So a lot of that just digesting, right? So what we might see and imagine on the collective, groups are seeking a lot of calmness, quiet cooperation, so nothing announced, emotional honesty rising. So maybe we're going to get some emotional like shorts of people being really honest about family dynamics as an example, right? And how chaotic maybe their Thanksgiving was as an example. On our personal level, we can imagine we're thinking about relationships. We have a desire to forgive or understand. So again, that's that perspective, getting that better view overall. Need for rest, softness, and intuitive guidance. So family and spirit is emphasized. So resting, getting that guidance, because we are supported still. Remember, we're getting that guidance. It's there. We're being supported. And then to make it through Sunday, our prescriptive guidance, we might imagine that we're staying gentle, just keeping ourselves calm. Again, listening to intuition before the logic, so listen to how it feels. And evening brings a mild boost of confidence because we're going into that Aries, so you might feel like, oh, it's time to now clean or do something. You might have that like jolt, go for a walk, remove that energy. So let's pick for Sunday next week when we meet again. What is our wisdom for Sunday? And hello, Apekisha. I apologize, but thank you for joining me from India. Okay, our wisdom for next Sunday, the 30th. Relationships. And this was thinking about relationships, desire to forgive and understand, and family and emotion and spirit emphasized. And our wisdom was relationships. There you go. You think, speak, and act towards others as you do towards yourself. Also, your external relationships reflect the one you have with yourself. So if you are experiencing conflict, look inside your inner battles. If others are intransigent, explore your internal resistance. And where you find harmony, rejoice at integrity you clearly radiate. So wisdom reminds you that you are the company you keep. Everyone in your life is teaching you something. So look upon all your interactions as opportunities for insight and growth. This is the path of personal mastery. I honor and accept everyone. So Sundays is definitely about personal mastery and about the relationships and how people mirror us as well. So that is beautiful. So again, if you are looking, and this does seem to align with what the wisdom is saying, go and apply to be my beta tester. breathewithinyoga.com, and it's a quick little form, Awaken Light Beta Tester, and this will help give you some guidance, because if you are looking like, where do I put my focus? Where do I put my energy into? And if you're not feeling like, what does make you happy, right? First, that's important. And clarifying that, and then knowing how those energies in your charts align and being able to do this research yourself is so empowering. So check it out to be a beta tester, to test out my new system. And hello, Scup something. Welcome. Okay, we got Tija Winicky. Please do a reading for you. Well, let's first pull just the overall for this week coming. And then, actually, why don't we do it for you and everybody for overall this week? Let's do a reading for Teja. Apologize if I didn't say that right. And all of us that are viewing this now. And Silly Squirrel, I can pull one for you as well. But let's pull kind of for everybody, specifically what the message is for Teja and all of us, what we can kind of learn as well, because I'm sure there's some overlapping message. And then I'll pull one for Silly Squirrel and what's the message for her. And again, kind of a secondary message for all of us as well. So you're more so on the relationship end. Okay, well, let's do this first one as relationships and what advice wisdom has for the relationships, because that is coming up so much on this week. So let's do that for Teja and relationships and the advice for all of us that we can learn from this. Relaxation. You can only connect with the magnificence and full potential when you relax deeply, for this allows your latent gifts and talents to emerge. In a state of calm relaxation, you can also handle your day-to-day challenges more easily when you are able to flow through the seemingly impossible. Wisdom suggests you prioritize time for yourself. Breathe deeply, do something you enjoy as you are due a spiritual, mental, emotional, or physical recharge. So remember that relaxation goes hand in hand with vibrant health and peak performance. I take time to relax today. So I feel right off the bat, being that we're pulling relaxation for the relationships, is that what did I pull here at the end was really about us mirroring our relationships, right? Because we pulled the relationship card. And it was the fact that we mirror our relationships. So this is doing that internal work, that relaxation, prioritizing time for ourselves. Fixing ourselves will help us fix these relationships, whether we decide to work on them more, decide to walk away from them, whatever we end up doing with these relationships, once we've aligned and healed ourselves, and especially doing something to get our spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical recharge, that will affect everything around us. We are energetic beings. So often, and I will be the first to admit that this is something I've been working on most of my life. It's like, you want to blame somebody else outside of us, right? They're the problem, this and that. However, we do mirror because we're not in alignment. So they think they can do things, or they inadvertently, unconsciously act and treat us a certain way because of the dimensions we have, or dynamics we've even unconsciously, just through our energy, have created, right? So in the relationship sense, for all of us here, it is really time to relax. It's going to help us with our health and be peak performance, so we can handle these situations with our relationships better this week. So with the guidance would be, Teja, go take care of yourself, give yourself your soul, love, care, all of that stuff you need. And that's going to help you come into those moments of that aha and that clarity, so you can get the right guidance on the decisions to make. And that's the same for all of us, especially if we're struggling with those relationships, which really come in, especially for the end of the week and around Thanksgiving. Give yourself that time to relax so you can see clearly and get those calm, appropriate downloads and clarifications. Perfect. Okay, let's pull for Silly Squirrel. I don't know. Was a girl. A Silly Squirrel's a girl. A woman. Sorry, a woman. I don't know. I just knew. I just knew. I apologize. Please don't complain if I reference you as the wrong gender. Like, that's something that didn't exist in my reality, and in my, I made it almost to my 40s before that became a thing, okay? So I have, most of my life has been that people didn't get offended, as, really did not, to the point of what happens now, right? So I'm not attempting to. This is my learned indoctrination by my environments for years. Job. Okay. Job. Okay, so we're gonna, Silly Squirrel, and then Sanjit, I think, Sanjit. I apologize, wants to know about jobs. Okay, let's do Silly Squirrel, what we can give guidance for her and for us, like on the whole, the collective guidance, not just on relationships, and then we'll ask about the job. So what is the on the whole energy for all of us, specifically Silly Squirrel, and then the rest of us as well? Compassion. So the message for this week is compassion. It is only when you walk in another's shoes that you truly understand their challenges and motivation. So examine the impact of your decision on people before speaking or acting. For compassion leads to better relationships and enables you to inspire others. So as you develop compassion, you will become aware of the interconnectedness of all beings and recognize oneness. When you act in this way, you are not being soft, but fully conscious, considerate, and wise. Wisdom suggests you make choices that will advantage everyone today. I am wise and compassionate. So this week is about us really, again, I feel like this comes right back to the story of They Live. If you haven't seen it, I make no money off of it, but go watch it. Go watch it. Go watch the movie. The extremely long wrestling scene of the friends forcing on the glasses so he can see what his friend can see, because these glasses give them a whole new perspective, right? So that's a complete good analogy of this week. And it's when we only walk in another's shoes that we can really understand their perspective. So it's like getting that clearer perspective for sure comes in. So having this compassion for ourselves for not understanding sometimes. Because sometimes we'll be like, oh, it'll be more difficult on ourselves or hard on ourselves. Like, oh, I'm so bad. How did I not know this one? You don't know what you don't know until you know it, right? So being compassionate to ourselves, but compassionate to other people that we don't really know anything or understand them until we get a better view of it, right? So that is our overall for this week, is be compassionate. Be compassionate to ourselves and others. And that's how we're going to be more conscious, considerate, and wise. And that's how we're going to level up as a humanity as well. Let's do one more pull. Let's do it for Satjay. I apologize again. And the movie is They Live. And it's got Roddy Rod Piper. He was a wrestler, I guess. I don't know. I came across it way after. I came across it in my like later 20s. And after I watched it, I had to buy it. And it was like, if you guys remember, I don't even know if it exists, TBS Superstation. That's how old I am. It was one random Saturday morning and I was watching. I was like, what movie did I come across? And I had to buy it. Well, thank you. I wish you the best as well, Silly Squirrel. But let's pull for everybody the job overview for the week, since that was requested as well for everybody here. What is our wisdom in the job careers? And our final pull for today. And our message here. Emotions. So with the job, it's bringing up emotions. Your emotions are fashioned by your beliefs about yourself. Incoherent feelings like anger and envy deplete your energies and indicate that you are uncentered. Wisdom reminds you to recognize your emotions as messengers and to listen and honor them. With understanding, you can then master them so that your life flows with health, wealth, and happiness. Feelings such as love and joy indicate attunement with your inner being and energizes you. Consequently, others respect and support you. So look for the positive in all situations and people. I master my emotions. So I feel like very appropriate. So I feel like this is, especially in the job and in the career, is recognizing emotions as our messenger, right? So if we're having a problem, maybe part of our relationships issues this week is a coworker. Recognizing the emotions that they're telling us something, listen and honor them. This has come up a few times, like don't be reactive. See if we can, again, emotionally mature this week and understand them a little bit better so that we will handle these situations, especially these relationships with people in work environments, in a much better fashion. So let's see. And again, if there is some like envy or anger, be aware of those, right? Especially if it is with the job, because that's what we were pulling on, that's not probably helping you with your job, right? So again, without blame, without, you know, being like, I suck so much. How can I be so envious of this person, and being hard on yourself? Well, the first is you have to acknowledge, and then you can choose that, you know, I don't want to. And it's not necessarily going to take once. You're might have to do it 5, 10, a million times every time that emotion comes up, but you will master that emotional maturity and then grow from there. Which country? I'm not sure which country you mean, Nihar. USA. I'm currently in the USA. That is where I currently am at this moment. Where I was born, my ley lines, what my passport says. Well, my passport's Canadian. We have businesses overseas. I have residency in other country as well. And we just do stuff. I just exist. I'm a person of Earth. I like to say that only speaks English and poorly sometimes. And on that note, thank you so much for joining me. I do intend that this helped, heal, and serve you today with something going forward into the week. And if you do feel that calling that you would like to level up and have more clarity in your days, reach out. Come become a beta tester for my Awaken Light. It's going to be going active within for people to actually, you know, we got to go through the beta testing. So the whole point would be go through it, see how it works, the functionalities, and I'd love some input. And if this is something you're interested in, you love this type of content, numerology and astrology and understanding these things, this app is for you. So go to my website. It's also in the description. The first link on my website, breathewithinyoga.com, is Awaken Light Beta Tester. It's a very simple little form. You don't have to do too in-depth. There's a couple of questions that are open. You know, it's not a test you can't fail. But if you're interested in feeling the call, join me and be the first people to try it out. Thank you. You're beautiful as well. And I will see everybody again, same time, same place. So make sure you do like, subscribe, and so you can stay up to date. We'll go live again next Sunday, the 30th at 11:11 a.m. Eastern time on the East Coast. And wherever you are, because I'm now Pacific, I guess it was 8:11 my time, Pacific, come and join me. And we'll see you then. Have a beautiful day.